So we're at Chatfield Reservoir this morning, and Chatfield has been allowing a lot of snowmelt and a lot of recent rain into the lake. And they had planned this a couple years ago. They had actually moved some sections of the road, built a new bridge, all sorts of fun things like that. But the water, I think, is getting to be almost as high as they are going to allow it to be. So we're going to go exploring today, myself and my wife Sophie, in our two kayaks. So come along and join us. So with the new high water, lots of cottonwoods are now submerged. I guess one of the questions we'll have is, as it gets into fall and winter, are they going to let this water drop down? They did that last year, and everything you're looking at basically through here, this was all dry ground last fall, and they flooded it this spring. It's only June now, but again, I think the water's as high as it's going to go. But right now, it is a paddler's dream for paddleboards and kayaks alike. So at the lake this much higher, there's all sorts of new fish habitat. And I'm assuming it's making for some pretty good fishing out here. But you never know with the fish. The fish do what they want to do, and you catch them when you can. What a beautiful day, huh?
It is. Very nice.
So this little spit of land straight ahead here obviously used to be dry, and 2 years ago we were kayaking in the center channel here, and we actually saw one of our first Chatfield black bears, who was right where that far tree is on the left at what would have been the end of the spit, just running around and playing. I think that was in July. And then he took off to the right side and disappeared into the trees. But right now he'd have to be swimming, and he would need a life preserver because it's all underwater now. So this is the normal put-in at the far end of the lake. This is where we would normally have put in our kayaks, and you can see how crowded it is. We're out here on a Sunday. It's actually Father's Day, and the whole parking lot looks like it is full. Kayaks everywhere, and this is again where everybody normally would put in. We're going to head over here and see if we can cut through to the river. This section used to be, again, all high ground, and you could not get straight through this, but we're going to try that today and see what happens. Here's one of the biggest trees we've seen today. Who knows how old this tree is? You can see it's pretty thick, pretty tall, and now it is all underwater at the bottom. We'll see if it's going to survive, and if in fact they do let water out come this fall. So we're going through the trees over what used to be dry land to the river. The river canal is straight ahead of us. I don't know if you can see in the far distance, there's a fisherman, it looks like, with some orange reflective chairs or a vest, and that is the far shore of what used to be the river channel that would lead in from Waterton Canyon and Strontia Springs Dam into Chatfield Reservoir. So it looks like we are going to be able to cut in, and then from here we're going to turn to the right and head up the channel. Used to be you would hit rocks eventually and you would have to turn around. But with the flooding as high as it is today, we're going to see how far we can get.
Now
So this is the bridge that we cycle over all the time, and Sophie's getting ready to go under it. This is the channel of the river. It's the South Platte, and this goes all the way north into Nebraska. But from here, you can see the paddle boards way in the distance. That's about where you had to turn around because you would quickly run out of any depth in the river. But today, we're going to see how far up through this channel we can get. So this is the channel. We would normally not be able to get up this far on this river, but today looks like it's a clear paddle. We'll just keep on going and see what we get to see. So that's something you don't see every day. One of the trail signs strategically placed almost underwater. This used to be a hiking trail and a biking trail. I've mountain biked on this side of the river many a time before they let the water in, but that's pretty cool to see. I don't know if you can tell, but there is a current to this river. I would say I'm drifting probably about a mile an hour, maybe half a mile an hour. So it's nothing major, but there is a current. I am gently being pushed back towards the bridge. So you might be able to tell a little bit here against that far shoreline. There's a lot of cottonwood fluff on the top of the water, but you can get a sense for the current here. It's starting to pick up because the channel is becoming narrower. We're getting up towards, but not quite to, the bridge by Waterton Canyon. So we'll go up a little farther and see if we can get up there. You can see at this corner how much water flow is coming down. There's a little bit of a bend here. I've never been up this far. Oh, look at this, a big old log coming down the channel. Look at that. That's pretty impressive. That's probably about a 10-foot section of log or tree that has fallen into the river. Again, you can really now tell how fast the current is going. That's a pretty good drift. I'm stuck on just a little piece of wood here, just holding the kayak in place for a little bit. I think you can still see the log drifting behind me back down the channel. We've come probably a quarter of a mile, not that far. But it's fun. This is, again, not something you get to see at Chatfield every day. But maybe with the new flood pool being about 12 feet higher, this will be the new normal. We'll have to see. In other words, enjoy it while you can, because it may not last. So here comes Sophie. She's staying to the side, trying to avoid the stiffest part of the current, which usually runs towards the middle, and it's that way here. Looks like, I don't know where she's going. She might get stuck over there, but she's trying to get over that curve where the current really starts to flow. So far,
It's fun.
pretty nice.
Very nice.
We've never been able to get up this far.
No.
No?
No.
Was that tough getting through that little bit of current right down here?
No.
No?
No.
You zipped right on through it.
I was fine.
Arrgh. Iron Woman. Paddle hardy.
Okay.
Yep. Say bye.
Bye.
So I'm about as far up the river as I think I'm going to be able to paddle. So I just pulled over and I'm just admiring the beauty, because on the other side you can see the current. That's what I'm trying to paddle up against. I can get maybe a little farther up. We'll try it. But I wanted to take a picture of these wild roses, I'm assuming, just tucked in along the riverbank here. How pretty are they? So again, off to my left, that's the current that we're paddling against. It's getting pretty tough to get very far. All right, here we go. Heading downstream, back against the current. All right, I might have to paddle to avoid this snag, so hold on. Now we're going. Just drifting, I'm not paddling at all here. So we didn't get all the way up to Waterton, but we got up a little ways. Again, just a couple months ago, you wouldn't have been able to get anywhere close to up this far on the river. It would have been shallow, and you would have had fly fishermen all along these banks. So here's the parking lot for the gravel ponds. And again, normally this is single track mountain bike territory. Very nice cycling through here normally. I guess that might be gone, potentially for good, because right now it's just a big old pond. Here's another specimen of a giant cottonwood tree. Who knows when that seed was planted? I'm not quite sure how cottonwoods, how fast they grow, but that's a pretty massive trunk at the bottom. And I can't paddle quite to it, but I would imagine its roots are now submerged. But I think cottonwoods are designed to manage being submerged part of the season and still survive. It's going to be a shame. There's basically a cottonwood forest here, and most of this is now submerged underwater. It's going to be a shame if in fact all these trees disappear, because they really do add to the landscape. So my wife and I have huskies. We have 2 huskies now, and we had a different pair of huskies before them. And the prior pair, Tundra and Chinook. Tundra especially liked to pull a one-man dog sled. And we've actually dog sledded on this trail straight ahead below this fence in the wintertime. It's a beautiful trail, fairly flat, and Tundra and Chinook, although Chinook would only pull just a little bit, but they love to be back here in the cold of winter. But this is what it looks like in June. We're back to the place where we started this morning. It's gotten quite a bit more crowded, obviously. We were out about 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's been out for a couple hours, and it's obviously a pretty popular spot. But thanks for joining us as we took a little toot through the new trees and new lake at Chatfield.